everyone, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel. And today's video, I'm just going to be sharing 5 kind of big things that they're working on right now to try to develop better treatment and cure-like options for a type 1 diabetic. Now, as of right now, there is no true cure for type 1 diabetes, but I know a lot of people, a lot of researchers, a lot of organizations are working tirelessly to try to find cures for a disease like this, especially a disease that really affects a lot of young people like myself, and even for a lot of adults that have had it since a fairly young age or were diagnosed later on in life and have no clue why. They are trying to work on a cure for us so that we don't have to have the physical, mental, emotional, and financial burden of having type 1 diabetes. Now, the things I'm going to state you probably heard of, or maybe you've only heard of a little bit. I'm not going to go into depth too much with them because the video would drag on forever. But if you want me to go on more in depth about any of these topics, I'd be willing to do so. Just let me know if there's a specific one you want me to talk about. I will talk about in a future T1D with Maddie episode that I will discuss what I think will be our type 1 diabetes cure. What do I think is going to end up curing us, or what do I think is going to be our ultimate cure so that we don't have to live with type 1 diabetes. So the first one I have on my list here is immunotherapy. Immunotherapy would basically be attacking the autoantibodies that are present in our bloodstream that only attack the beta cells in the pancreas. If you're able to wipe out those autoantibodies, you would basically cure type 1 diabetes because it would allow the beta cells to regenerate without being under attack by all these different autoantibodies. But unfortunately with immunotherapy, they have not found a way to just isolate against that autoantibody. And if they have, it's probably only in clinical trials, and it probably has 5 or 10 years before it would actually be tested on real life, on people in the general community. So this is kind of a difficult one, but it could end up being a cure. I mean, if you think about it, if you wipe out the autoantibodies that are attacking our pancreas, it would allow the beta cells to regenerate and possibly start producing insulin again. But the problem is with the immunotherapy is the only way they can do it now is by destroying good, healthy immune cells. Meaning that if you were to cure type 1 diabetes in me, you would also be destroying a lot of my immune system that protects me from getting sick with the flu or measles or any other common or non-common disease. I would be more prone to getting something like that, and you don't want to weaken the immune system to the point where you're going to end up being more open to different things just to try to get rid of one type of autoantibody. So this is something that can happen, and it could be a way of the future. Number 2 is islet cell transplant. Now I know they've worked on islet cell transplants in the past, or they've tried transplanting islet cells back into our pancreas. However, they'd have to have something special about them so the body wouldn't destroy them. Maybe they'd have to transplant them in a different part of the body, like in the liver or a different part of the pancreas, stuff like that, to where basically you would allow a different part of the body to code and make insulin. I know they've tried putting like islet cells in like the delta cells of the pancreas or the alpha cells that secrete glucagon and give them a second job coding for the ability to produce insulin. So therefore, if the islet cells are hidden inside a different cell of the pancreas or a different side in the cell in the body altogether, the autoantibodies that are running rampant in my blood and in all the other bloods of type 1 diabetics, it wouldn't get destroyed because it doesn't recognize that, hey, there's insulin being produced from something other than the beta cell. The autoantibodies want to attack the beta cells. So if you don't let them get to the beta cells, or you hide the insulin producing cells in a different part of the body, they're not going to be attacked. I know they've worked with islet cell transplants, and I know a few people have had them done. And it may be one of those things where if you have it done, you may have to have it done like every 10 or 15 years just to make sure you have a stockpile of cells that can continue to secrete insulin for you. Number 3 is stem cell therapy. Now, this is a big thing that's been going on a lot with a lot of different conditions and a lot of different medical situations where they're basically trying to take stem cells, which when we're developing in as a fetus inside our mother's wombs, we basically have all these cells that are called stem cells, and we even still have some in our body that basically can be turned on into any cell in the body. They could be turned into a nerve cell, cells for the eyes, cells for the heart, cells for the digestive system, skin cells, even pancreatic cells. So if we could build a whole new pancreas from stem cells. Wouldn't that be amazing if we could just take a bunch of cells that have no function or no purpose and give them the codes, give them the information they need to grow into a new pancreas or grow into beta cells and put them in our bodies. That would be such a phenomenal thing, and I think that would cure a lot of different diseases if we could get a hold of this stem cell therapy. However, it is a very expensive therapy, and if we don't have enough stem cells, we're not going to be able to grow new organs or make new cells for different people of different medical conditions. But it is another option. The fourth one I have on here is more of a management thing, but it is a closed-loop artificial pancreas system, which is basically what a lot of insulin pumps are starting to transition to, where you have a continuous glucose monitor and an insulin pump, which is on my stomach right now, being able to communicate with each other. And if the sensor detects that your blood sugar is trending down, it will give you less insulin or suspend your insulin. If the continuous glucose monitor detects your blood sugar is headed up or rising, it will dump more insulin to try to keep you in normal blood sugar ranges. A lot of people have hacked their own insulin pumps or have tried to hack the old Omnipods and the Medtronic pumps in order to achieve this closed loop system without waiting for the FDA's approval. I think that's kind of neat how people are doing that, and I would do so if I didn't have the Dash, which unfortunately is not hackable yet, but if it is, I may try it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. It's your health, your decision, and if it helps you better manage type 1 diabetes and it makes it less of a burden on you, absolutely go for it. And I think a closed loop system eventually will be the best management we have until we get a true functioning cure where we don't have to worry about hooking up to a pump or a machine. And if it can take a lot of the worry out of everything except for carb counting or giving an idea of how much carbohydrate you're eating, that's it. You don't have to worry about basal adjusting. You don't have to worry about like, I'm a little higher than normal, let's crank up my insulin. You would have that done automatically for you. And the fifth one, which is something that's new as of recent, is called smart insulin. Right now, unfortunately, type 1 diabetics and any people who are insulin dependent, even if you're a type 2 insulin dependent or a Modi insulin dependent, unfortunately the insulin we take does not stop functioning, meaning that it doesn't sense when the blood sugar is going to drop, or it doesn't sense, hey, when the blood sugar is going up to start working faster, or start working harder, or start making more of itself, copy itself, or decrease itself. So that is why the risk of high and low blood sugar with type 1 diabetics is very, very common. Because if you take too much insulin for a meal, say you take 5 units for a meal and you only needed 4, well, that extra unit is just going to keep working and working and working until it literally drains the sugar out of your bloodstream. So that's why you as a type 1 diabetic have to be on top of watching for low blood sugars, watching your continuous glucose monitors, noting your symptoms for hypoglycemia, or checking your blood sugars frequently to avoid dangerous hypoglycemia episodes. Well, this smart insulin that they're trying to come up with would have the ability, if it would sense the blood sugar is dropping, to slow down or stop working. And the opposite for hyperglycemia, if it sensed the blood sugar was rapidly rising beyond a healthy level, or maybe thought the blood sugar was, going to be on the rise, start working a little bit harder and faster to try to keep as normal blood sugars as possible within the blood vessels. So these are all the options really that I just talked about here that could eventually turn into cures, or really, really good ways of managing type 1 diabetes without us having to put a lot of worry and strain. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm extremely thankful to have a continuous glucose monitor and an insulin pump, because it makes managing type 1 diabetes in my life so much more easier than it did on shots and finger sticks. We've come a long way. However, I feel like we could do better as a society and pushing for better things, because diabetes has been around for a long time. Insulin has been around for about 100 years. It's about time we work our way towards more functional, manageable ways that everybody should be able to have access to, because even with an insulin pump and a continuous glucose monitor, I still have to be the one to, hey, I'm low, treat it, or I'm high, fix it, or, do this and do that so that I don't go low, or do this and do that so I don't go really high. It's still a lot of work on my end, and a lot of you would agree with me, it's still a lot of work on your end, even if you have like a pump and a continuous glucose monitor. So to me, a functional cure would be not having to wear medical devices, having some sort of surgery or some sort of transplant or some sort of injection that would cure us. But for now, I think these are the 5 topics I wanted to discuss that will probably eventually lead to a cure to type 1 diabetes. Like I said, in a future video, I'm going to talk about what I think will happen for a cure for type 1 diabetes. What do I think is going to be our type 1 diabetes cure? But I've talked about this before. I don't personally think that there's going to be a cure in my lifetime, maybe in my great-grandkids' lifetime, but not my lifetime. But who knows? Every single day I think about and pray for researchers to continue fighting hard for cures for type 1 diabetes, because I know there are a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of research on this, doing a lot of clinical trials for different medications to different therapies to try to cure type 1 diabetes. So if you're religious like me, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Keep hoping, keep breathing, because every single day that passes is one day closer to a cure for this relentless autoimmune disease. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. I post videos every single week about diabetes plus more. And I need your guys' help. As you can see, I'm closing in on 500 subscribers. So first of all, thank you so much. Your support means the world to me, but I haven't really decided what I want to do to celebrate 400 subscribers. So if you have any ideas, let me know, or even ideas for 500 subscribers if you want to see something different. For 100 subscribers, I did do my type 1 diabetes diagnosis story. For 200 subscribers, I did do a Q&A. And for 300 subscribers, I did do a VialSafe giveaway on both YouTube and Instagram. So if you have any other suggestions for me, let me know. Do you want me to talk more about stuff that I do outside of diabetes management? Do you want another Q&A? Do you want me to do another giveaway in the future? Do you want to see some other aspect of my life, like I said, that I don't really talk about besides diabetes? So let me know. I am open to pretty much any suggestion, as long as it is A, not inappropriate, or B, not something that is vulgar or mean. You get the point. I'm not going to be putting that kind of stuff up here on YouTube, as you could tell probably from the 170 some odd videos I have made. So until next week, 4 more videos. Take care. God bless. Be kind, spread positivity, and be thankful. Bye, everyone.